Let's bring in our panel to discuss the phases of this deal that is on the table. New York Times bestselling author. Her latest bestselling book is called Rise, and she is the chairman for ActAmerica.org, national security analyst Brigitte Gabriel, and also foreign policy expert Harley Lippman. Great to have you both with us.
Thank you.
Obviously, negotiating with terrorists, this is where the deal was able to be brokered. 3 phases. I'll start with you, Brigitte. It seems like the first phase with the 33 women and children, wonderful news, but the second and the third are sort of contingent on that. What do you make of how this is structured, and will it actually manifest?
Look, this is a bad deal for Israel, no matter how you slice it and dice it, and that's exactly why Israel turned it down back in March when it was introduced, back in May, back in August. But obviously, Netanyahu was under pressure to make a deal before President Trump comes into office. And here's the thing about this deal. The first phase of the deal, they're going to release about 23 Israeli hostages. We believe about 27 of them only are to be believed alive. Not all of them are going to be alive. And what Israel is paying is a very heavy price for their release. For example, Israel is paying 30 Palestinian terrorists for each woman, child, or an elderly over 50 who is released. They are paying 50 prisoners, 50 Palestinian terrorists per female soldier released, and 30 of these prisoners that are being released have a lifetime sentence in Israeli jails. So Israel is paying a very heavy price, releasing the worst of the worst. This is reminiscent and a reminder of when Israel did the hostage deal after Gilad Shalit in 2011, where they released Yahya Sinwar out of their prison, who became the head of Hamas and basically perpetrated October 7th.
You know, Harley, that has been one of the chief complaints, is this swap and the unevenness, as Brigitte Gabriel points out. What do you take on this? Is this a bad deal, or was it one psychologically that will give some lift to, you know, the Israelis? And again, diplomacy maybe will be able to weed out Hamas, because to her point, too, if we just see all these Palestinians that are released serving life sentences, they could be backfilling everything the IDF did to eradicate Hamas and Hezbollah.
Well, you're 100% right, and there are 2 dynamics here. One is that says this is a bad deal for Israel and peace in the Middle East, because Bibi Netanyahu has been insisting on the complete and total destruction of Hamas, total Israel victory, and that's how you'll have peace in the region. Just like in World War II, when Germany and Japan surrendered, there was a Marshall Plan. The Germans and the Japanese were uplifted, and 80 years later, we've never had a conflict with Germany or Japan. So that's been the strategy, and there are people who say that it's a disaster. On the other hand, this may create more opportunities for a better outcome. This deal is being driven through because of Trump. President Trump has to get all the credit. You know, he has put huge pressure on Israel to agree to this. He's made a commitment to get the hostages home by the time he's inaugurated, and he's making it happen. So from the perspective of saving human lives and getting hostages, Trump has performed a truly wonderful thing to be able to have these poor people who've been in tunnels and suffering for about a year and a half, to have them reunited with their families.
Yes.
So I would say there's 2 aspects to this.
Even before he takes the oath of office. But, you know, what you just said, Harley, didn't sink in with Joe Biden. He ran right out to the microphones today, flanked by Anthony Blinken and Kamala Harris, to try and say this is all him, this is all him. And tonight at 8 o'clock, another farewell speech, Brigitte. You know, Iran, though, knows that Joe's out, Trump's in, and that is maybe the solace and also the glimmer of hope we have, that they may actually know they won't have appeasement anymore under President-elect Trump.
Exactly, and that's exactly why Hamas agreed to this deal. They know the wrath of Trump is coming if they did not go through with it. They don't underestimate him. They know exactly in their mind he's crazy. So they don't know what Trump will do, and that's exactly why they wanted to make sure they come to some sort of a deal before Trump takes office, because once Trump takes in office, he and Netanyahu will work together to really crush the Hamas and the Palestinians. Unfortunately, you are dealing with people who hold to the idea of revenge. It could take, they can wait another 50 years. They will avenge what happened in Gaza. So while we may not have any wars under Trump, as soon as Trump leaves, don't think that the Palestinians are going to be living happily ever after with the state of Israel by their side. It doesn't matter how many years pass by, you're going to see another October 7 unless Israel basically completely finishes off Hamas.
This deal really is a complicated one. Again, probably not perfect, but what is on the table? Harley, I'll give you the final word here in our last 30 seconds. Will be some emotional days. Sunday is the first day, and phase 1 begins.
Well, it's a wonderful story for the hostage families and the hostages. But at the end of the day, national security is decided by defeating your enemy, not by getting your hostages released. That's the strategy for winning wars. The one good hope here is that in this agreement, after 45 days, Israel could resume hostilities. So Israel's hands are not tied behind their back. And I think ultimately the only way you ever are going to have peace in the Middle East is when you have Israel defeating Hamas, and then you can liberate the Palestinian people and they could have a chance for a better life.
Well, wonderful to have you both with us today, and great analysis as always. Harley, Lippman, Brigitte Gabriel, I hope to see you back here soon in the next few days and weeks ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.